The woman they had come to kill walked through the ruins of an abandoned research station on the edge of the desert, her boots crunching softly against broken glass and twisted metal. Her breath slow, her eyes sharp. She had always known this day would come. She had felt it in the air, like a storm rolling closer each year. She was not a soldier. She had never worn the uniform of war, but Ilara Kane carried something heavier than any weapon. Knowledge secrets that made her the most dangerous human alive in the galaxy knew. Her hair was tied back tight, her face smeared with dust. She looked nothing like the legendary figure the aliens feared, yet she moved with the calm of someone who had already seen death up close and had chosen to face it again. The memory of the night before burned in her mind, the sky filled with fire as the first assassins fell onto Earth. Believing they were hunters and learning they were prey, she had watched from the shadows as hidden Earth defenses tore into them. The message whispered across the stars in that cold, mocking voice, "Try harder." The assassins had retreated, but not all of them. Some had survived, and they were still out there waiting. Search Angela pushed open the rusted door of the station. Inside, rows of shattered monitors flickered weakly, as if clinging to their last sparks of life. She ran her fingers across the dusted surface, remembering when this place had been alive with voices, laughter, and hope before the galaxy had noticed her before she had become a target behind her. A faint sound stirred the crunch of stone, the shift of weight. She froze her hand, slowly drifting toward the weapon at her belt. It was nothing fancy, just a human-made plasma pistol, but in her hands it was enough. She turned fast, weapon raised only to see a figure step into the light. It was a man, tall, broad shoulders, scar across his jaw, his uniform black without insignia. He lowered his hands slowly, showing he was not here to kill. "Ilara Kane," he said, his voice rough but steady. "You are hard to find." Her eyes narrowed, and her youth man gave a faint smirk. "Name is Marcus. Lieutenant Marcus Vance, Earth Defense Command. We have been watching you for some time." Ilara, her stomach tightened. Earth Defense Command was supposed to be a myth, whispered only in military halls and conspiracy corners, a hidden branch of humanity's forces that prepared for threats no one else even believed in, and if he was real, if they had been watching her then, she was never as alone as she thought. "Why are you here?" she asked, her tone sharp. "Because," he said, stepping closer, "you are the reason they are coming. The assassins, the fleets, the council. You are the storm that wakes them, and we need to know why." She laughed bitterly. "You think I asked for this? I never wanted their eyes on me, but they know what I know, and that is something they will kill worlds to erase." Marcus studied her closely then. "Tell me, what do you know? What makes you so?" Dangeruzella hesitated for a moment, the memories pressing at the edges of her mind, images of cold laboratories, alien faces watching from behind glass, the pain of machines burrowing into her skin, the sound of her own screams when she had been young. She had been taken not by humans, but by something else. Her body studied, her blood tested, and then one day she had been released. No explanation, no warning, just left back on Earth as if nothing had happened. "I was part of an experiment," she whispered finally. "Not by us, not by Earth, by them. They changed me. I do not even know how much, but they made a mistake. They let me go, and I remembered what they tried to hide." Marcus frowned. "What did they?" Ilara looked at him, her eyes dark there. "Fear," she said simply, "their greatest fear." Before Marcus could press further, a sharp sound cut through the air, the high-pitched hum of alien weapons charging. Both turned instantly, the windows of the station glowing red as beams of energy sliced through the walls. The assassins had found them. "Get down," Marcus shouted as the wall exploded inward. 3 towering figures stepped through, their armor gleaming like liquid metal, their blades burning with unnatural light, their eyes fixed on Elarashi. Raised her weapon and fired blue plasma, cutting across the Dark One. Assassins staggered, but did not fall. Their bodies, stronger, faster, built for killing. Marcus grabbed her arm, pulling her back into cover. As the assassins advanced, "We cannot fight them here," he growled. "They will burn this place to ash then. Where do we run?" She snapped. "Not run," Marcus said. "Fight smart." His hand tapped a device on his wrist, and the ground beneath them shook. Outside in the desert, Hidden turrets rose from the sand. Spitting streams of fire, the assassins turned their attention, momentarily buying Alara and Marcus a chance to move. They sprinted through the collapsing halls, Alara's lungs burning, the sound of alien screams chasing them. The night was alive with chaos, humans in camo suits emerging from the dark, engaging the assassins with brutal precision, but still, it was not enough. The assassins cut through steel and flesh with terrifying grace. Bodies falling, Alara stopped for a moment, staring as one assassin lifted a soldier into the air and split him apart as if he were nothing. Rage lit inside her. She raised her pistol and fired. Again, the bolt piercing the assassin's skull, the creature falling with a screech. Marcus looked at her, surprised. "You fight better than most soldiers." She spat on the ground. "I had good teachers." The battle raged, the desert sky burning with light. Alara and Marcus pushed forward, weaving between fire and dust, until finally the last assassin stood before them. This one was different, larger, its armor pulsing with veins of red light. Its gaze locked on Alara with a hatred that almost felt human. The alien spoke, its voice a hiss of broken tones. "You are an anomaly. You should not exist. You are Ralara's blood." Ran cold, it knew her. It knew what she was before Marcus could react. The assassin lunged faster than sight, but Alara moved faster, instinct guiding her in ways she could not explain. She dodged the strike and pressed her pistol to its chest, firing. Until nothing remained but burning ash. Silence fell, the desert littered with bodies, human and alien, smoke rising into the night. Sky Marcus breathed heavy, his weapon still ready, but the fight was done. Alara lowered her gun, her hands trembling. She looked at Marcus. "They will not stop. This was just the beginning." Marcus nodded. "I know, but you are not alone anymore." Yella closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them sharp again, her voice steady. "Then listen to me carefully. There is a reason they fear me. There is something buried in my memories, something they want to erase. If we can unlock it, we can turn this war before it swallows earth whole." Marcus stared at her, the weight of her words sinking in, and for the first time he understood. This was not about one woman. This was about all of humanity. The galaxy had made a mistake. They thought they could erase her, they thought they could erase Earth, but they had awakened something else. Something far more dangerous. And, as the night wind carried the smoke of battle into the stars, Alara Kane whispered softly, almost to herself, "Try harder, though." The desert was quiet after the battle, but the quiet felt wrong, too still, too heavy, as if the air itself waited for the next strike. Alara Kane stood among the ashes of the fallen assassins, her pistol still warm in her hand, her breath sharp in her chest. She had killed one of them herself. The memory of it burned through her veins, and she could not ignore what it meant. The galaxy feared her not because of what she had done, but because of what she might do. She was different, and they knew it. Marcus Vance walked at her side, his eyes scanning the horizon for movement, his black uniform covered in dust and blood, his jaw set like stone. He had fought many battles in his life, but never one like this. The assassins were supposed to be perfect hunters, the kind of enemy no species could resist yet. Earth had not only resisted, it had fought back with fire, and with rage they moved through the ruins of the old station, heading toward the hidden bunker below where survivors had gathered, soldiers, scientists, operatives who had all sworn to protect humanity from threats. She entered the bunker, whispers following her every step. Some looked at her with awe, some with suspicion, and some with quiet fear. She did not belong here, and yet she was the center of everything. Marcus introduced her to the commander, a woman named Evelyn Cross, her hair cut short, her stare sharp as a blade. Evelyn looked Lara up and down as if weighing her soul, then finally spoke. "You are the reason they came." Lara did not flinch. They would have come no matter what. It just gave them a reason to move sooner. Evelyn crossed her arms. "Do you understand what you represent? Do you realize how many more will die because of you?" Lara met her eyes firmly. "I never asked for this, but if they want me, they will have to take all of us. And I do not think they can't." The room was silent for a moment, the soldiers shifting uneasily. Then Marcus spoke. "She killed one of them herself. The others saw it. They know she is not ordinary." That made the whispers grow louder. The assassins had fallen before, but never by human hands. Alara felt the weight of their stares pressing against her chest until Evelyn raised her hand, silencing the room. "You are truly what they fear," Evelyn said. Then maybe you are not our curse. Maybe you are our weapon, the words hung heavy in the air. Ilara said nothing because deep inside, she knew Evelyn was right. Later that night, the bunker shook, alarms blaring across the halls. Everyone rushing to defensive positions, Ilara and Marcus ran to the command room, where screens flickered with incoming signals. The sky above was burning again, but this time, it was not assassins, it was ships. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Sleek alien craft descending through the atmosphere. Earth was no longer facing a hunting party. This was Wartha. First strike hit New York, a beam of light carving through the city towers, falling. Into fire, the second hit Beijing, then London. The world was burning within minutes. Evelyn barked orders into comms. Units sending squadrons to intercept hidden defense satellites, activating weapons long kept secret. Ilara stood frozen, staring at the screens, her stomach twisting in horror. The galaxy had decided to erase her. And to erase her, they would erase everything. Marcus gripped her shoulder hard, his voice steady but fierce. Look at me. This is what they want. They want you afraid. They want you broken. Do not give them. Thatelara blinked and forced herself to breathe. She remembered the face of the assassin who had called her anomaly, who had named her error. She remembered the way her blood had burned when she fought it. She knew something was inside her, something not human, but she was still Ilara Kane, and she would not break. The battle spread across the night sky. Fighter jets screaming into the air, missiles streaking against the dark, but the alien ships were stronger. Faster, their weapons tearing through steel like paper. Still the humans fought with everything they had. Even when outmatched, they adapted, they improvised, they struck back with fury. Marcus led a squad into the desert to intercept a landing craft. Ilara went with him against his protest. She carried only her pistol and the strange instinct that guided her movements. They reached the crash site. Just as the alien ramp opened, tall armored figures stepping into the sand, Marcus shouted fire, and the night exploded with gunfire. Aliens charged their weapons, cutting through men and women without pause, but the humans did not retreat. They fought like wolves, teeth bared, refusing to give an inch. Ilara moved with them, firing shot after shot. But it was not her weapon that terrified the enemy, it was her eyes. When one alien came too close, she felt something awaken inside. A rush of power, a surge of memory. She moved before it, did her body faster than her mind could follow her hand. Striking its chest with a force that shattered its armor, the creature fell lifeless into the sand. Marcus saw it, and for the first time, he understood why the galaxy feared her. She was not just human anymore. She was something else. The battle raged until the landing craft burned under human fire, the survivors staggering back toward the bunker covered in ash and blood. Evelyn met them at the entrance, her expression unreadable. She looked at Ilara for a long time, then finally said, "Whatever they did to you, use it, because we will not survive this war without." Ilara nodded, but inside she was trembling. She did not understand what had happened to her. She only knew it was growing stronger, and with each battle, she was less certain she would remain herself. That night, as the survivors tended their wounds, a message broke through the comm channels. It was not human, it was alien. A broadcast spread across the skies of Earth. The voice was cold, mechanical. The words translated into every language: deliver the anomaly, Ilara Kane, or your world will burn. The bunker fell silent, every face turning to her. She felt their fear pressing down, but she also felt something else. A spark of defiance. She stepped forward, her voice steady. Send them a message back. Evelyn raised an eyebrow. What message? Ilara's lips curved into a hard smile. Try harder. The words were transmitted across every frequency, across every satellite, into the heart of the alien fleet. The galaxy had threatened Earth, and Earth had answered, not with surrender, not with fear, but with challenge in the dark command halls of distant worlds. Alien leaders watched the transmission, their cold eyes narrowing. As they heard the human woman's voice, they had sent killers. They had sent fire, and Earth had not broken. Instead, Earth had declared war. And in that moment, across the stars, a single truth began to spread. Humans were not prey. Humans were predators. Had just been cornered, and nothing is more dangerous than a predator with nothing left to lose. Ilara stood in the bunker, surrounded by soldiers, and smoked the fire of war. Reflected in her eyes, she whispered again, almost to herself, "I think they know fear. They do not know fear until they know us outside." The sky burned brighter, and the war for Earth truly began. Later that night, the bunker shook alarms blaring across the halls. Everyone rushing to defensive positions, Alara and Marcus ran to the command room, where screens flickered with incoming signals. The sky above was burning again, but this time it was not assassins. It was ships. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Sleek alien craft descending through the atmosphere. Earth was no longer facing a hunting party. This was Wartha. First strike hit New York, a beam of light carving through the city towers, falling into fire. The second hit Beijing, then London. The world was burning. Within minutes, Evelyn barked orders into comms. Units sending squadrons to intercept hidden defense satellites, activating weapons long kept secret. Alara stood frozen, staring at the screens, her stomach twisting in horror. The galaxy had decided to erase her. And to erase her, they would erase everything. Marcus gripped her shoulder hard, his voice steady but fierce. "Look at me. This is what they want. They want you afraid. They want you broken. Do not give them that." Alara blinked and forced herself to breathe. She remembered the face of the assassin who had called her anomaly, who had named her error. She remembered the way her blood had burned when she fought it. She knew something was inside her, something not human, but she was still Kita Kane, and she would not break. The battle spread across the night sky. Fighter jets screaming into the air, missiles streaking against the dark, but the alien ships were stronger. Faster, their weapons tearing through steel like paper. Still, the humans fought with everything they had. Even when outmatched, they improvised. They struck back with fury. Marcus led a squad into the desert to intercept a landing craft. Alara went with him against his protest. She carried only her pistol and the strange instinct that guided her movements. They reached the crash site. Just as the alien ramp opened, tall armored figures stepping into the sand. Marcus shouted fire, and the night exploded with gunfire. The aliens charged their weapons, cutting through men and women without pause, but the humans did not retreat. They fought like wolves, teeth bared, refusing to give an inch. Alara moved with them, firing shot after shot. But it was not her weapon that terrified the enemy, it was her eyes. When one alien came too close, she felt something awaken inside. A rush of power, a surge of memory. She moved before it did her body, faster than her mind could follow her hand. Striking its chest with a force that shattered its armor, the creature fell lifeless into the sand. Marcus saw it, and for the first time he understood why the galaxy feared her. She was not just human anymore, she was something else. The battle raged until the landing craft burned under human fire, the survivors staggering back toward the bunker covered in ash and blood. Evelyn met them at the entrance, her expression unreadable. She looked at Alara for a long time, then finally said, "Whatever they did to you, use it, because we will not survive this war without." Alara nodded, but inside she was trembling. She did not understand what had happened to her. She only knew it was growing stronger, and with each battle she was less certain she would remain herself. That night, as the survivors tended their wounds, a message broke through the comm channels. It was not human, it was alien. A broadcast spread across the skies of Earth. The voice was cold, mechanical, the words translated into every language. "Deliver the anomaly, Alara Kane, or your world will burn." The bunker fell silent, every face turning to her. She felt their fear pressing down, but she also felt something else. A spark of defiance. She stepped forward, her voice steady. "Send them a message back." Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "What message?" Alara's lips curved into a hard smile. "Try harder." The words were transmitted across every frequency, across every satellite, into the heart of the alien fleet. The galaxy had threatened Earth, and Earth had answered, not with surrender, not with fear, but with challenge. The dark command halls of distant worlds. Alien leaders watched the transmission, their cold eyes narrowing. As they heard the human woman's voice, they had sent killers. They had sent fire, and Earth had not broken. Instead, Earth had declared war. And in that moment, across the stars, a single truth began to spread. Humans were not prey, humans were predators who had just been cornered, and nothing is more dangerous than a predator with nothing left to lose. Alara stood in the bunker, surrounded by soldiers, and smoked the fire of war. Reflected in her eyes, she whispered again, almost to herself, They think they know fear. They do not know fear until they know us outside. The sky burned brighter, and the war for Earth truly began, the night sky over. Earth was no longer filled with stars. It was filled with fire. The alien fleet hovered in low orbit, their dark hulls blotting out the heavens, their weapons charged, glowing. Red as if the sky itself had caught flame, cities still burned across the continents. Smoke rising high into the clouds, and the people of Earth huddled in fear but in the deep. Bunker hidden beneath the Nevada desert, there was no fear, only Angelora. Kane stood in the command center, her face pale under the flickering lights, her eyes sharp, her voice steady, though her heart hammered against her ribs. The message she had sent echoed still across every channel: try harder. The aliens had heard it. And now they would answer, but Alara knew something had shifted. They no longer faced a hidden war. This was open fire. This was survival, Marcus. Vance stood beside her, his uniform torn, his arm bandaged from the last battle, but his stance unbroken. He watched the screens as enemy ships moved into position, dozens of them, maybe hundreds, the defenses of Earth, reactive orbital cannons rising from the oceans, satellites armed and firing secret weapons long hidden, unleashed for the first time. And still it looked like a hopeless fight. Commander Evelyn cross-paced behind them, her jaw set, her voice sharp as she barked orders into the CUM system. Scramble squadrons, launch drones, prepare fallback zones. No matter what happens, Earth does. Not Neil. Her words carried steel, but Alara felt the weight of them pressing down. There was no escape. Not for her, not for anyone. The first strike came, fast beams of alien fire searing through the atmosphere, slamming into the deserts around the bunker. The ground shook. Walls trembled, dust falling from the ceiling. Soldiers braced as explosions roared above them. Alara grabbed the edge of the table, steadying herself, but her eyes did not leave the screens. She saw the way the enemy ships moved, weaving together in a perfect pattern, as if they were one mind, one swarm. Marcus cursed under his breath. They are not fighting like soldiers. They are hunting like predator. Sella whispered back, then we make them bleed like prey. The battle was chaos. Earth fighters launched into the sky, streaking trails of fire missiles, locked onto alien hulls, explosions lighting the night. But the enemy ships adapted, shifting patterns, absorbing fire with shields. Humans pushed harder, detonating warheads, close range, crashing their jets straight into enemy craft. Desperate sacrifice, buying seconds at a time. The bunker, the soldiers cheered each time a ship went down, even as more appeared above. Alara felt a strange fire in her chest. She was not a soldier, but she could not stand still. She turned to Evelyn. Let me speak to them. Evelyn frowned. To hoot to the galaxy. Alara said firmly, they want me then. Let them hear me. Let them know Earth is not afraid. Evelyn hesitated, then finally nodded. Do it. The Comtex opened a channel broadcasting through captured frequencies into the heart of the alien fleet. Alara stepped forward, her face lit by the cold glow of the screen. Her voice steady. You came here with assassins. You came here with armies. You burned our cities. You slaughtered our people. You think we will surrender, but you are wrong. Earth does not kneel. Earth does not break. And if you want me, then try harder. Her words carried across space into every enemy ship, across hidden channels, even into alien council chambers far away, and the silence that followed was heavy, then broken by the sound of human soldiers cheering. But in the alien flagship, the reaction was different. The commander, a tall figure of bone and steel, watched the human woman's message replay, his eyes glowing with cold hatred. He turned to his second: destroy her, destroy her world, leave nothing but ash back on Earth. The fight pressed harder. Alien landing craft descended, spilling armored warriors into cities. Across the globe, soldiers, civilians, anyone who could hold a weapon stood against them. Battles raged in streets, buildings collapsing, fire lighting the sky. Humans used everything they had: rifles, grenades, tanks, drones, even sharpened steel, when nothing else was left. In New York, a squad of assassins cut through soldiers until a young pilot slammed his damaged jet into them, sacrificing himself and buying the city minutes in. Beijing, civilians armed with nothing but firebombs ambushed alien patrols, turning alleys into traps. In London, children were evacuated through underground tunnels as soldiers held the line above, dying one by one but refusing to fall back. Galaxy had sent killers, but they had awakened something older and stronger: the will of humanity to fight when cornered, to strike when threatened, to never surrender in the bunker. Elara's body trembled with every explosion, her mind burned with flashes. Memories, not her own, visions of cold laboratories, metal needles, alien whispers. She felt something inside her, stirring, something the aliens had left in her when she was a child, something they feared. She gripped the table, fighting for control. Her voice low, "Marcus, if they find out what is inside me, they will burn every star to stop it." Marcus leaned close, his eyes fierce. "Then let us make sure they never do ours." Past battles raged across the planet. Earth bled, but it did not break. Finally, Evelyn turned to Alara, and Marcus's her voice hard. "We cannot keep this up. We will run out of soldiers before they run out of ships. We need more than defense. We need to strike back." Marcus nodded then, said quietly, "We send a message not just to the aliens but to everyone across the stars. They think humans are weak. Let us show them what weak really means." Velen looked at Alara. "You started this with words. Finish it with fire." Plan was dangerous, maybe impossible. A captured satellite had been taken from the first alien ship destroyed in orbit. If they could hack its signal, they could broadcast not just across the fleet but across the galaxy itself, a message to every world, every council, every enemy. Alara was the key. She was the one they feared her face. Her words would be their weapon, the bunker filled with frantic work. Soldiers and techs wiring cables, reprogramming systems, sweat dripping down faces as alarms still roared above the enemy, pressing harder, but no one stopped, no one gave up. Finally, the signal was ready. Evelyn turned to Alara, the screen flickering. Waiting for her voice, Alara stepped forward. She felt the weight of Earth on her shoulders, the screams of burning cities, the eyes of billions watching unseen. She took a slow breath and spoke. "This is Alara Kane of Earth. You call me anomaly, you call me era. You send killers, you send armies, and still I stand. You think this world will kneel, but hear me now. Earth will never kneel. Earth will fight. Earth will rise. And if you fear me, then you should fear us all, because we are not prey. We are the storm, and we are coming." Her voice carried into the void, into alien council chambers, where rulers shifted uneasily into warships, where commanders clenched their jaws into colonies, where whispers spread like fire. Humans were not broken. They were awake. The galaxy had sent killers, but Earth had sent a message back, a message no one could ignore. The alien flagship, the commander, roared in fury, smashing his hand against the console. He had underestimated the humans. He had underestimated. Here on Earth, the soldiers cheered louder than the thunder above. Their morale reignited fire in their veins. They fought harder with every breath, every bullet, every strike, and slowly, impossibly, the alien fleet began to falter. Lara stood staring at the screen, her chest heaving, her heart racing. She felt Marcus's hand on her shoulder, steady, strong. "You just changed everything," he said. Quietly, she knew he was right, but she also knew it was only the beginning. Outside, the sky burned with war. But now it burned with something else. Hope hand across the stars. The galaxy whispered the same words in fear and awe. "Try harder." The war stretched across the surface of Earth like a living wound. Cities burning, seas glowing with the wreckage of falling ships, deserts filled with ash, yet the people refused to kneel. They fought with weapons and with hands, with fury and with fire. Every alien that landed faced humans who would rather die on their feet than live as slaves. But even as the battles raged, even as the alien fleet began to fracture, Alara Kane felt the storm inside her growing stronger each die-in. The hidden bunker beneath the desert, the walls shook with every distant explosion. Soldiers moved with exhaustion in their eyes, but still ready for the next fight. Commander Evelyn Cross kept her voice sharp as steel, barking orders, even when her hands trembled. Marcus Vance stood at her side, steady like a wall, his body bruised and bloodied, but his eyes alive with defiance. Alara watched them both, knowing these were the kind of people who defined humanity, unbroken, unyielding. But in the quiet moments when she was alone, she felt something else pressing into her mind, visions that were not her own, shadows of strange stars, alien symbols carved into glass, whispers of voices that spoke in languages her mouth should not know yet. She understood every word. When she closed her eyes, she saw cold laboratories, bright lights, metal tools. Piercing her flesh when she was a child, she had been taken, she had been changed, and now she realized what they had left inside her was waking. Marcus noticed her distraction one night when the bunker had gone dark during a power outage. He found her in the corner, her hands shaking, her eyes distant. "Alara, talk to me," he said, his voice low. She looked at him, her voice almost a whisper. "Marcus, I think I know why they fear me." He frowned. "What do you mean?" She swallowed hard, her throat dry. "Because I am not just human. Not anymore." The silence between them was heavy until Marcus finally spoke. "You are still Alara Kane. You are still one of us." But she shook her head. "No. You don't understand. When they experimented on me, when they cut into me, they put something inside, not a weapon. Not a machine, something worse. Knowledge. I remember things I should not know, designs for weapons. Strategies, codes, patterns that could break fleets, entire fleets." Marcus's jaw tightened. "You mean you carry the key to destroy them?" "Yes," she whispered. "And that is why they will never stop until I am ash." The following day, Evelyn called a meeting around the command table, her face hard, her voice. Sharper intelligence reports showed the Alien Council was regrouping. Their forces had suffered losses, but their rage was only growing. They were preparing to send more than assassins, more than soldiers. This time they would send fleets large enough to crush a planet. Evelyn turned her gaze on Alara. "You are the reason they are here," she said flatly. "And you may also be the reason we survive. What is in your head, what they gave?" Alara hesitated, then spoke slowly. "I think it is a code, a sequence buried in my memory, something they created long ago to control their fleets, a backdoor command that could shut them down or tear them apart." The room went still. Every soldier, every technician staring at her. Marcus finally broke the silence then. "That is our chance." But Alara's voice trembled. "You do not understand. They buried it deep inside. Me, locked behind walls of pain. If I try to reach it, I might not come back. I might lose myself." Evelyn's eyes narrowed then. "You will not face it alone." They began working with the tech team, digging into Lara's memories, linking her mind to machines that could pull the code-free wires connected to her skin screens, lighting up with streams of alien symbols as she closed her eyes and fell into the storm. Inside her, she found herself standing in a place that was not real, but felt more real than. The world around her, a chamber of glass and steel, endless mirrors reflecting her face, but not her human face. The reflections twisted, showing eyes that glowed, skin that shimmered with strange veins. Voices whispered around her, "You are not error. You are design. You are the seed of fear." She wanted to scream, but she forced herself forward, each step tearing through walls of memory. She saw herself as a child on a cold table, alien faces watching as they injected her veins with light. She saw symbols carved into her bones, codes burned into her blood, and then she saw what they had left behind, a sequence glowing like fire in the dark. She reached for it, and the pain tore through her body like knives, but she held on. She screamed, but she did not let go. In the bunker, her body shook, her veins glowing faintly blue, the soldiers watching in shock. Marcus gripped her hand, shouting, "Hold on, Alara. Do not let them take you." She opened her eyes and whispered the code. The screens around them lit up with alien language, the text scrambling to translate it, streams of data unlocking at once. Evelyn's eyes widened as she realized what it was, a master key to the alien fleets, a single command that could override entire armadas. But Alara collapsed to the floor, her body trembling. Marcus lifted her into his arms, her eyes half open, her voice weak. "I found it, but it is not just a weapon, it is a curse. If we use it, it will not just kill ships, it will kill everything connected to them. Whole colonies, whole worlds." The room went silent. Evelyn's jaw clenched, then whispered, "So the choice is extinction for us, or extinction for them." Alara closed her eyes, tears sliding down her face. "I do not want to be the monster they made me." Marcus held her tight. "You are not a monster. You are the reason we still have a chance above." Then the war raged harder. Alien fleets, descending cities, burning oceans, boiling Earth on the edge of collapse. The people still fought, still clawed for survival. But they were bleeding out, and Alara knew soon there would be nothing left unless she made the choice that night. She stood alone outside the bunker. The desert sky glowing with falling fire, she looked at the stars, her body trembling with the weight of what she carried. She whispered to herself, I am not just human, I am not just alien, I am something else, and maybe that is why they fear my Marcus. Stepped out behind her, his voice low, if you use the code we might win, if you don't we might lose. What will you do? Alara turned to him, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark. I will not decide tonight, but when the moment comes, I will choose, and whatever I choose, the galaxy will never forget. The next day, the alien fleet descended in full there. Weapons brighter, their fury louder, Earth shook under their fire, and humanity gathered for its greatest battle. Soldiers, civilians, children.
Wow.
Everyone standing together across cities, across ruins, across mountains and seas, ready to fight until the last breath. In the bunker, Evelyn gave the final order, hold the line and pray. Alara makes her choice in. As the sky above split with fire, Alara Kane closed her eyes and felt the code burning inside. She was the weapon, she was the storm, and the moment of decision was coming fast. The sky burned red as the alien fleet poured into Earth's atmosphere, their ships slicing through the clouds. Like knives of fire, people across the planet looked up and felt the ground shake as shadows blotted out the sun. Every city was lit with fear and rage, sirens screaming, while soldiers scrambled to defensive lines. Humanity was exhausted, broken in body and spirit, yet still they stood because surrender was not in their blood. In the desert bunker, Alara Kane felt her pulse racing as the code inside her throbbed like a living thing. It whispered in the back of her mind, promising power, promising destruction. Her body ached from the struggle of holding it back, but she knew the moment of choice was near. Marcus Vance watched her carefully, his eyes full of worry, but also trust. He had seen what she carried, and he believed in her, even when she did not believe in herself. Evelyn Cross moved with sharp commands, her voice cutting through the chaos of the bunker like a blade. She was preparing the last defenses, calling units across the globe, linking them together for one final stand. The alien fleet did not wait. They rained fire across continents, vaporizing mountains, sinking islands. Cities turned to ash in second screams. Carried on the wind, and still humans fought missiles. Launched fighters soared into the sky. Even as they were outnumbered and outgunned, they fought back with rage and with hope. Alara pressed her hands against the cold wall of the bunker, trying to block out the noise, but the voices inside her mind grew louder. Every second she saw flashes of alien commanders sitting in their ships, issuing orders to erase humanity. She saw their fleets moving with cold precision, their minds linked through the same network that pulsed inside her veins. She realized she was not just holding the code. She was inside their minds, part of their web. She could hear them like echoes across a canyon. They spoke of her, they feared her, they called her the anomaly, the failure, the seed of ruin, and yet they wanted her erased. Marcus placed a hand on her shoulder. Alara, breathe, focus on me, not on them. She turned her eyes to him, whispering, they are everywhere. Marcus, I hear them, I feel them. They are afraid of me, but they will burn the whole planet before they admit it. Evelyn overheard, and her voice snapped like fire, then make them regret it. Kane, if you can break them, do I? Tell her. Shook her head, her body trembling. If I use the full code Marcus told you, what happens? I can end them, but I will also end everything tied to them. Their colonies, their cities, their families, children. You never chose this. Evelyn's eyes narrowed, cold but steady. And what about our children, our families, our people? If you do nothing, we all die, and their empire keeps growing. You cannot fight a monster without becoming a monster. Marcus cut in, his voice softer but firmer. No, she is right. Evelyn, we are fighting soldiers, but if she wipes out entire worlds, she becomes their weapon, not ours. The bunker shook violently, dust falling from the ceiling, alarms blaring as enemy fire struck nearby. They were running out of time. Alara closed her eyes and let the storm inside her grow. She let the voices rise until she was drowning in them. Alien captains, screaming commands, fleets shifting in formation. She felt her mind slip deeper into the web until she stood on the bridge of an alien warship, staring through the eyes of its commander. He was tall, his skin dark green, His eyes burning like coals, he felt her presence and froze. "Who are you?" he snarled. Elara smiled bitterly. "You know who I am." "Duh," Commander roared inside his mind, echoing through the entire fleet. "The anomaly is inside us. Cut her out, sever the link." But it was too late. She had already slipped deeper, her mind darting from ship to ship, from captain to captain. She could see their weapons, she could see their engines. She could see the heart of their fleet, and she realized she could tear it all apart with a single thought. In the bunker, her body convulsed, wires sparking as the machines monitoring her overloaded soldiers watched in shock as her eyes glowed, bright veins pulsing blue across her skin. Marcus held her down, shouting, "Stay with me, Elara, stay with me." She opened her mouth and spoke words, not her own alien commands, spilling from her lips. The screens lit up with symbols, tech teams scrambling to interpret them. Evelyn's eyes widened. She is in their system, then the alien fleet faltered, thousands of ships froze in the sky, weapons hanging mid-fire, as if someone had ripped the strings of a puppet. The world below stared in awe. The unstoppable storm had paused. For the first time in history, Elara stood at the center of it. Her mind stretched across the galaxy. She could feel the full empire, not just the fleet above Earth, but worlds light years away, billions of lives linked together by the same web that pulsed inside her. She could crush them all. She could end their empire in seconds. The alien commander, whose eyes she had borrowed, screamed in rage. "Do it then, human. End us. Prove you are no better than we are." She hesitated, tears burning her cheeks. She could see their civilians, their children, their families. Just like her own, she whispered, "I will not be your monster." But in that moment, a shadow inside her mind stirred. Something darker, deeper than even the code. It was the voice of the ones who had made her a whisper like ice. "You were not born to choose. You were born to destroy." Elara's body jerked violently as if something else was trying to take control. Marcus saw it and shouted, "Fight it, Elara. Do not let them win. Remember who you are. Remember, you're human," she gasped as the voice pressed harder. The alien fleet began to move again, recovering from her grip ships, turning their weapons back toward Earth. Evelyn slammed her fist on the table. "Damn it, Kane, if you are going to use it now. Before we all burn." Marcus shook his head. "No, she has to choose, not the weapon, not the aliens, her." He leaned closer to her ear, whispering, "Elara, listen to me. You are not their creation. You are ours. You are human. You are Elara Kane, the girl who survived the fire, the woman who gave us hope. You are not alone." Her eyes flickered between blue and human brown, her voice a mix of two tones, one her own, one alien. "I can end them, but if I do, I end myself." Marcus held her face steady. "Then do what only you can do, not what they made you to." Elara screamed, and the sound was not human. It was raw and fierce and filled with pain. Her mind surged through the alien web, not to destroy, but to break the chains. She ripped at the connections, severing the links between ships, tearing apart the unity that bound them together one by one. She cut their minds free until chaos exploded across the fleet ships, crashing into one another, captains shouting in confusion, no longer united by the Hyvon. Earth, the skies lit with fire as alien ships collided. Missiles from human defenses striking true for the first time. Without coordination, their strength crumbled. Evelyn watched in shock, whispering, "She is dismantling them." Shouted, "She is giving us a chance." But Elara was collapsing. Every cut she made tore at her soul. Blood ran from her nose, her veins pulsing with light. She fell to her knees, whispering over and over, "I am human, I am human, I am human," until finally, with a final scream, she shattered the last link, and the alien fleet broke apart like glass scattered in a storm. The world erupted in victory. Human forces striking hard as the alien ships fell from the sky, fire raining across oceans and deserts. The people cried out in defiance, hope surging like a wave. Evelyn gave the order, "Push them back. Take everything we can." Marcus held Elara in his arms, her body limp, her breathing shallow. She had saved them, but she had given almost everything to do it above. The ruined earth fragments of the alien fleet drifted like shattered bones, but deep in the void a darker silence stirred. The alien empire had not been destroyed, only wounded, and the voice inside. Ilara's mind whispered again, "This is only the beginning," and as the fires of battle raged, Marcus looked at her pale face and whispered, "Hold on, Ilara, we are not done yet." The smoke of fallen ships still hung in the sky when silence spread across the battlefield. The world below was broken, but alive people crawled out of ruins with blood on their faces. They had hope in their eyes for the first time in generations. The alien fleet had been forced to retreat, not by armies, not by weapons, but by one woman whose name they would remember forever. Lara Kane Marcus carried her through the rubble, his arms trembling from exhaustion, yet his grip unshaken. She was barely breathing, her skin pale, her veins faintly glowing, as if the code inside her was burning itself out. Soldiers followed in silence, some saluting as he passed, others whispering prayers. Evelyn walked at his side, her jaw tight, her eyes hard though. She tried not to show it. She was shaken too, because victory did not feel complete. It felt fragile. Temporary, like a storm paused before the next strike they brought. Ilara to the underground facility beneath the Rockies, the last place still untouched. By the alien invasion, scientists rushed to hook her to machines, wires and lights flashing over her body as if searching for answers. Marcus refused to leave her side, his eyes locked on her face, willing her to stay alive. Evelyn stood near the command table, scanning incoming reports across the globe. Yes, the fleet had broken. Yes, Earth had survived, but deep space scans showed regrouping enemy ships far beyond the solar system. They were not gone, they were gathering, and worse, they had seen what Ilara could do inside her mind. Ilara drifted through endless darkness. She floated in a space filled with broken chains. Glowing fragments of the alien web she had destroyed, each one pulsing faintly like a dying star. Voices whispered around her. Fragments of alien commands, scattered cries of soldiers, lost without their hive, yet beneath it all, she still heard the other voice. The cold one, the one that had tried to take her. It spoke slowly, clearly, without sound. You cannot run from what? You are not their savior. You are the weapon. And when the time comes, you will finish what we began. She screamed, but no sound left her lips. The darkness closed tighter until she felt a hand reach through it, Marcus's face sharp in her fading vision, his voice warm, steady, saying her name over and over. She clung to it like fire in the night, and the chains loosened just enough for her to breathe again back. In the command hall, Evelyn received a transmission, a deep signal cutting through. Static, the entire room froze as the screen lit up, revealing an alien figure. Its face scarred, its eyes burning with hatred. The voice was calm yet filled with venom. Human anomaly. We see you, we will not stop. We will not forgive you. Broke our chains. But you also broke yourself. You carry our code, you cannot deny it. When the time comes, you will finish us, or you will finish yourselves. And either way, the galaxy will remember you not as saviors, but as the plague. The screen cut to black, leaving silence. Evelyn turned to Marcus, her voice sharp. They will not give up. They will come back with more fleets, bigger, stronger, and they will come for her. Marcus shook his head. They are wrong. She is not their weapon. She is ours. But even as he said it, his eyes betrayed doubt because he had seen her convulse. He had heard the alien words pour from her lips. He knew she was on the edge of being lost. Days passed as humanity rebuilt cities, smoldered, but survivors gathered around fires. Children laughed weakly as food was shared. Soldiers buried their dead with honor, and songs, voices rising to the sky like a defiant choir. The story of Ilara spread like lightning across the world. People painted her face on walls, carved her name into stone. Some called her savior, others called her cursed, but all agreed she was the reason they still breathe. Delara finally woke, her body weak, her voice barely a whisper. Marcus was there the moment her eyes opened. He leaned close, tears in his eyes. You came back. She managed a faint smile. Did I save them? Or did I doom them? He shook his head. You gave them a chance that is more than anyone else ever has. Evelyn entered the room, her boots clicking on the floor, her expression unreadable. She looked at Ilara with something between respect and suspicion, and said, the people are calling you our miracle, but you and I both know the war is not over. They are regrouping, and they are coming for Ilara. Tried to sit, but her body shook. The machines beeped. Marcus helped her upright. She looked at Evelyn, her eyes steady, even in weakness. Then we do not wait. We take the fight to them. Evelyn raised a brow and laughed bitterly. You can barely stand. You think you can lead us into the stars, Marcus. Cut in firm, maybe she cannot yet, but humanity. Can we have fleets? We have fire, and now we have unity for once in our history. We stand together if they are coming, then we meet them before they reach us. The room fell silent as the idea spread bold. Dangerous, reckless, but it was exactly the kind of plan that made humanity impossible to break. Okay. Evelyn finally nodded slowly. Very well, we prepare an expedition. Not just to fight, but to end this. Where Laura lay back, her eyes closing again, but inside. Her mind, the darkness stirred once more, the cold voice whispering, so you will come to us good, because when you reach the heart of the Empire, you will see the truth, and then you will know you cannot run from what you are across the planet. Factories roared to life, engineers rebuilt old ship, soldiers trained with new fire, scientists unlocked alien tech left from the broken fleet. Humanity became something new, something sharper, faster, more united. They were no longer survivors, they were an army in the shadows of space. The alien empires seethed. Commanders clashed over how to respond. Some demanded immediate retaliation. Others warned of the anomaly inside them. Whispers spread through their own people, cracks forming in their unity. Same cracks Alara had carved with her mind. They feared her, yet they also saw her as the prophecy fulfilled. The weapon they had lost now turned against them. One night, Marcus found Alara standing alone outside the facility, her body wrapped in blankets. Her eyes staring at the stars, she looked haunted. He walked up beside her silently until she spoke without looking at him. Marcus, I do not know if I am saving them or leading them into the fire. What if the voice is right? What if I am what they made me to be? Marcus placed a hand on her shoulder, his voice calm. Then we decide what you are, not them, not their. Kodas, you, Ilara, Cain, human, not weapon. She turned to look at him, eyes shining with tears, and whispered, promise me if I lose myself. Promise me you will stop me. He swallowed hard, his chest aching, but he nodded. I promise. Far above. Earth probes carried by survivors sent their signals back, revealing the movement of massive alien fleets gathering on the edge of the galaxy, building something enormous, weapons like nothing seen before. The commanders gasped as the images spread. Evelyn looked at Alara and Marcus, her voice grim. They are preparing for an endgame, and so must Witha. Stage was set, the world prepared, the people rallied. Behind a fragile hope, and deep in the silence of space, the enemy sharpened their blades. Alara stood between them, both savior and weapon torn, between what she wanted to be and what she was made to be. And as the first human fleet prepared to leave Earth's orbit, heading into the unknown, the stars themselves seemed to tremble, waiting for the storm that was about to come. The first human fleet rose into the night sky, engines blazing. Like suns, the world below watched with breath held. People cheered and cried at the same time. Banners waved, children pointed their small hands toward the stars. The ships were not perfect. They were patched, welded old hulls mixed with new alien tech, but they flew together as one, a symbol of a planet that had finally found its voice. Marcus stood on the command deck of the flagship, his eyes locked on the horizon, Earth growing smaller. Behind them, his chest heavy, yet proud, Evelyn moved through the crew, giving orders sharp and precise, her presence steady like steel. Alara sat in the medical chair, her veins still glowing faintly, her body trembling, but her mind sharper than ever. She was tied to the system, her thoughts linked to the scanners, her visions stretching across space. The fleet passed the edge of the solar system, the blackness of deep space swallowing them. Stars, cold and endless but not empty, signals came through. Faint alien transmissions, overlapping whispers. Marcus listened and felt the hair on his neck rise. The enemy was not hiding, they were waiting. Hours stretched into days. Every man, woman, and child aboard carried both fear and fire. They trained in zero-gravity loaded weapons, checked and rechecked systems. Songs drifted through corridors, old Earth melodies about freedom and sacrifice. Alara listened with eyes closed, her heart aching. She wondered if this was what it meant to be human, not perfect, not unbroken, but unwilling to stop. One night, as Marcus tried to rest, he heard her voice soft beside him. Do you believe we will win? He turned to her, saw the shadow of fear behind her strength. He whispered, I believe we will fight, And that is enough? She held his hand, her grip weak yet warm, and for a moment both let themselves dream of peace. But peace was far away. Scouts returned from the front lines broken. Ships barely alive, they carried recordings of the alien Armada, endless rows of dark vessels eclipsing sun's weapons, the size of moon's energy signatures beyond anything human eyes had seen. Evelyn studied the data, her face pale, but her voice calm. This is it, their final strike. If we do not stop them here, there will be no Earth left. To defend, the fleet pressed on, entering the edge of enemy territory. The stars shifted, strange distortions filled the void. Ilara stiffened, her eyes glowing brighter. The voice inside her grew stronger. Welcome home, it whispered. She fought it, grinding her teeth, but visions filled her mind. Alien temples, burning fleets colliding, a throne of cold metal at the center of the empire, and a figure waiting cloaked in shadows. She whispered one word. The source. Marcus leaned closer. What did you see? She shook her head, her voice shaking. The one behind it all, the one who created me. Evelyn overheard, her face tightening. Then that is where we go, cut off the head end. The war. They reached the border, a black wall of ships rising like a mountain, the alien fleet waiting silent, their weapons glowing faintly. Then the message came across all channels. A voice deep and cold. Human anomaly, you come to us, carrying our blood in your veins. We could have ruled together, but now you will burn. Ilara forced herself to the screen, her eyes blazing. I am not your weapon, I am not your plague, I am human, and today we end youth. Battle erupted, stars vanished in fire beams, cut across spaceships, exploded like fireworks, bodies and metal scattering through the void. Human vessels, smaller, weaker, but moving with wild, reckless courage. Every pilot fought as if the world itself depended on their hands, and it did. Marcus commanded with fire, shouting orders, turning desperation into strategy. Evelyn led ground forces, preparing boarding parties ready to strike from within. Ilara sat in the core, her mind linked to the fleet, guiding them through the storm. For every human ship that fell, another pressed forward. Screams echoed through calm silence, followed by defiant laughter. No one turned back, even as the alien fleet unleashed weapons that split entire formations apart. The humans adapted, sacrificing themselves to shield others, turning wreckage into shields, fighting like no species had ever fought before. Ilara felt the hive pressing against her mind, alien voices clawing, pulling, trying to take her back. She screamed, her body shaking, veins blazing, but Marcus's voice cut through it, steady, strong. Stay with me, stay with us. She clung to his words and pushed deeper into the alien net, and there she saw it, the throne world, a planet of black metal wrapped in fire. A fortress glowing at its core, the source of the hive, the heart of the empire. She whispered, coordinates. Evelyn's eyes widened. You want us to go there in the middle of this? Marcus nodded. If we do not cut the source, this war never ends. Evelyn cursed but relayed the orders. The flagship and its escorts turned, breaking through enemy lines, diving straight into the jaws of the beast. The closer they came, the stronger the pull. Ilara felt her mind tearing between human and alien, her body convulsing. Marcus held her hand, whispering promises even as blood ran from her nose. Evelyn's forces boarded alien ships, fighting in corridors filled with smoke and screams. Every second gained brought them a step closer to the world ahead. Finally, the flagship descended into the atmosphere, fire licking its hull. The throne world stretched below. Endless towers, glowing rivers of energy. Alien armies gathering like shadows at the gates. They landed hard, soldiers stormed out. Weapons blazing, explosions lit the sky. Evelyn at the front, cutting down enemies with ruthless precision. Marcus carried Ilara, her body too weak to walk, but her eyes locked on the central tower, the throne. They fought through waves of alien soldiers, blades and fire-clashing screams echoing across the metallic plains. Humans fell, but never stopped pushing. Marcus felt exhaustion tearing at him, but Ilara's whisper kept him moving closer, closer, until the doors of the throne split open inside the chamber. Shadows danced. A single figure stood tall, draped in black, its eyes burning like suns. Its voice filled the hall. So you return, weapon of my design, the one who carries my code? Ilara forced herself to her feet, leaning on Marcus, every breath a battle. but her voice clear. I am not yours. Not anymore. The figure stepped forward, its presence overwhelming. Alien metals shifting like armor alive. You are what? I made you. You are the song of our people, the last key to our dominion. Marcus raised his weapon, but the figure flicked a hand, and he was thrown across the chamber. Ilara screamed, rushing to him, her veins blazing brighter, the voice inside her tearing at her soul. The figure extended its hand. Join me, child. Together we can rule galaxies, end their chaos, forge order. Ilara closed her eyes, tears streaming, images flashing her childhood, her mother's smile, Earth's oceans, the laughter of children, the songs of soldiers. She opened her eyes, fire burning within her. No, I choose them. She unleashed the code within her mind. Exploding with light, the chamber shook, the throne cracked, the alien figure roared, striking at her, but Marcus dragged himself back, pulling her away. Evelyn stormed in, guns blazing, driving the figure back together. They fought the final battle, steel against shadow, human will against alien design. Figure staggered as Ilara pushed harder, burning herself alive. Marcus shouted her name, begging her to stop, but she smiled at him, her voice faint. This is what? I was meant for, not to destroy, but to end it. She poured everything into the code. The light consumed the chamber, tearing through the hive, breaking every. The Empire's mind, the figure screamed as it disintegrated into dust, the throne collapsing around them. Marcus grabbed Ilara, pulling her close, but her body was fading, her eyes glowing one last time. She whispered, You promised me, Marcus. You promised. If I lost myself, he shook his head, tears streaming. No, you did not lose, you won. She smiled faintly, then the light left her eyes, and her body went still. The chamber crumbled, the human soldiers dragged Marcus and Evelyn out as the throne world imploded. The sky above filled with fire, the alien fleet broke apart without the hive, their unity. Shattered, chaos spreading, the humans retreated, barely escaping as the planet tore itself to pieces behind them. Silence followed in the void. The war was over. The Empire gone, humanity bloodied, but alive. The fleet limped home, carrying both victory and loss when they returned. Earth erupted in joy, cheers, tears, songs, but Marcus stood apart, staring at the stars, his heart broken yet proud. Evelyn stood beside him, her voice quiet. She saved us all, and he whispered, She saved more than us. She saved what it means to be human statues. Rose songs were written, stories spread across the galaxy, the tale of Ilara Kane, the human who faced the impossible, who carried the enemy within her yet chose her people, who burned herself out to break the chains of billions, and though she was gone, her choice echoed across stars. A reminder to every survivor, every child, every soldier, that humanity was not defined by what they were made to be, but by what they chose to be, and that choice was freedom forever.